The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Alistair and I had built a life here, a quiet, predictable life filled with the gentle rhythm of village life. I was a veterinarian, tending to the local farm animals and beloved pets, a job I found immensely rewarding. Alistair, on the other hand, was an IT specialist, working remotely for a London-based firm. He was a good man, dependable, kind, perhaps a little too predictable, but that was part of his charm, or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Alistair began working later, claiming urgent deadlines and system updates. His phone, once an open book, became shrouded in secrecy, always locked, always face down. He'd jump if I entered the room unexpectedly, his eyes darting nervously as he minimized windows on his laptop. I dismissed it as stress, a demanding project, something that would eventually pass. But the unease lingered, a persistent gnawing in the pit of my stomach. One evening, I decided to surprise him with his favorite meal, shepherd's pie, a comforting dish that always seemed to soothe his anxieties. I walked into his study, a cozy room filled with the hum of computers and the scent of old books, and found him not hunched over his keyboard but staring intently at his phone, a soft smile playing on his lips. He didn't hear me enter. "Who are you texting?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light, casual. Alistair jumped, his phone clattering to the floor. "Oh, just a colleague," he stammered, his face flushed. "We were discussing a software issue." I picked up his phone, intending to hand it back, but my eyes caught a glimpse of the screen. A message from someone named Bronwyn. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Thinking of you." The smile on his face in that moment, the one he reserved for her, was a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in years. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Bronwyn, who was Bronwyn, a colleague, someone he'd never mentioned, doubt, a cold, unwelcome guest settled in my heart. I handed him the phone, my voice trembling. "Who is Bronwyn, Alistair?" He paled, his eyes wide with panic. "It's not what you think, Bramwell," he pleaded, his voice barely a whisper. "She's just a friend from work." "A friend you're thinking of. A friend you can't wait to see," I challenged, my voice rising. "Don't insult my intelligence, Alistair. I deserve better than this." He launched into a convoluted explanation about a project, a shared interest, a harmless friendship that had somehow, inexplicably, blossomed into something more. Lies, all lies, spun with the practiced ease of someone who had been deceiving me for quite some time. I didn't believe a word of it. "I want you to be honest with me, Alistair," I demanded, my voice shaking with a mixture of anger and hurt. "Tell me the truth. How long has this been going on?" He hesitated, his eyes darting away from mine. "A few months," he mumbled, finally admitting the truth. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to happen. A few months. Months of lies, months of deceit, months of him betraying the vows we had made to each other 20 years ago. The pain was a physical blow, a crushing weight on my chest. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "I need some air," I choked out, turning and fleeing the room, the image of his guilt-ridden face seared into my memory. I ran out into the rain, letting the cold water wash over me, hoping to cleanse the betrayal that had poisoned my soul. Over the next few days, the truth slowly unraveled, a tangled web of lies and half-truths. Bronwyn was not just a colleague. She was a young, ambitious project manager, recently divorced, who had clearly set her sights on Alistair. I discovered clandestine meetings, secret phone calls, and even a weekend getaway to a romantic spa in the Lake District, all meticulously hidden from me. The more I learned, the more I realized that our marriage, the solid, dependable foundation I had believed in, was nothing more than a carefully constructed facade. Alistair had become someone I no longer recognized, a man consumed by his own selfish desires, oblivious to the pain he was inflicting on me. I confronted him again, this time armed with evidence, screenshots of their messages, hotel bills, even a photo taken by a mutual acquaintance who had spotted them holding hands in a restaurant. He couldn't deny it any longer. "I'm sorry, Bramwell," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. "I never meant to hurt you. I felt alive again with her. You and I, we had become so predictable. That was his excuse. After 20 years of loyalty, of unwavering support, I was being discarded because I was too predictable. The anger surged through me, a burning fury that threatened to consume me. "Get out," I said, my voice cold and hard. "Get out of my house, Alistair. I don't want to see you again." He didn't argue. He packed his bags, his face a mask of regret and shame, and left without a word. As I watched him drive away, disappearing down the winding country lane, I felt a strange sense of liberation, a painful but necessary severing of ties. The divorce was swift and painless. Alistair, consumed by guilt, agreed to everything, signing over his share of the cottage and offering a generous settlement. I didn't want his money. I wanted my life back, the life he had so carelessly shattered. I threw myself into my work, finding solace in the comforting presence of animals, the unconditional love of a loyal dog, the gentle purr of a contented cat. I spent hours tending to injured birds, delivering lambs and comforting grieving owners, finding purpose in my ability to heal and nurture. But the nights were the hardest. The silence in the cottage was deafening, the emptiness a constant reminder of what I had lost. I missed Alistair, not the man he had become, but the man I had loved, the man I had believed him to be. One day, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received a letter. It was from Bronwyn's husband, Kiernan. He had discovered Alistair and Bronwyn's affair and, like me, had been devastated by the betrayal. He wrote to me seeking solace, a shared understanding of the pain we had both endured. We met for coffee in a small cafe in a nearby town, two strangers bound by a common wound. Kiernan was a kind, gentle man, a teacher, with a quiet strength that I admired. We talked for hours, sharing our stories, our pain, our hopes for the future. As we talked, a plan began to form, a plan for revenge, not a violent, destructive revenge, but a subtle, calculated revenge that would expose Alistair and Bronwyn for who they truly were. We decided to work together, using our combined knowledge and resources to reveal their deceit to everyone they knew. Kiernan, with his access to Bronwyn's email and social media accounts, provided me with invaluable information. I, in turn, used my connections in the village to spread rumors, subtly hinting at their affair, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of their friends and colleagues. We started small, a whispered conversation here, a carefully placed comment there. We made sure that Alistair and Bronwyn were aware of the whispers, the sideways glances, the growing suspicion that surrounded them. The pressure began to mount. Alistair, ostracized by his former friends and colleagues, found himself increasingly isolated. Bronwyn, her reputation tarnished, was passed over for promotions at work. Their affair, once a source of excitement and passion, became a burden, a constant reminder of their deceit. One evening, I received a call from Alistair. His voice was desperate, pleading. "Bramwell, please," he begged. "You have to stop this. You're ruining my life. You ruined my life first, Alistair," I said, my voice cold and unforgiving. "You betrayed me, you lied to me, you destroyed everything we had built together. Now you're reaping what you sow. I'm sorry, Bramwell," he sobbed. "I made a mistake. I regret everything. Sorry isn't enough, Alistair," I said, hanging up the phone, feeling a flicker of satisfaction but also a pang of sadness. His suffering didn't bring me joy, but it did bring me a sense of justice, a sense that he was finally paying the price for his actions. Bronwyn and Alistair's relationship imploded under the weight of their lies and the constant scrutiny of their peers. They eventually broke up, their affair ending as abruptly as it had begun. Alistair, alone and isolated, lost his job and was forced to move away from the village, his reputation in tatters. Bronwyn, her career stalled, was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. As for me, I slowly began to heal. I found solace in my work, in the companionship of my friends, and in the quiet beauty of the Cotswolds. I learned to forgive, not for Alistair's sake, but for my own. I realized that holding onto anger and resentment would only poison me, preventing me from moving on and finding happiness again. Kiernan and I remained friends, bound by our shared experience, our mutual understanding of the pain of betrayal. We found comfort in each other's company, a sense of camaraderie that helped us navigate the difficult path of healing and recovery. One sunny afternoon, as I was walking through the village, I saw Alistair. He was standing by the bus stop, looking gaunt and disheveled, a shadow of the man I had once known. He saw me too, his eyes filled with shame and regret. He opened his mouth to speak, but I simply nodded and walked on, leaving him standing there alone with his remorse. I realized that I no longer felt anger or resentment towards him, only a profound sense of pity. He had made his choices, and he was now living with the consequences. I continued my walk, the sun warm on my face, the birds singing in the trees. I had survived the storm, weathered the betrayal, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. I had lost my marriage, but I had gained something far more valuable, a deeper understanding of myself, a renewed appreciation for the importance of loyalty and honesty, and a newfound determination to live my life to the fullest, without fear or regret. The betrayal cut deep, a wound that threatened to consume me. Alistair's affair with Bronwyn was a cruel twist of fate, a shocking revelation that shattered my world. But in the end, it was his loss. He lost a loyal wife, a comfortable home, and the respect of his community. I, on the other hand, gained my freedom, my independence, and the opportunity to create a new life, a life filled with purpose, passion, and genuine connection. And that, I realized, was the ultimate revenge. So to anyone going through something similar, remember that you are stronger than you think, and you will get through this. Never let anyone steal your happiness. Your peace is non-negotiable.